Hi, Adrian.
Hi.
Well, what's it like to be back? First question.
Really exciting. You know, it's I didn't really have any expectations because I couldn't really tell whether people would think, oh, you know, this Vandenberg guy needs to make another record again or something, or whether you know, people would be more responsive to it. And it's a really great and very pleasant surprise that apparently people are really responsive to it. You know, I started noticing the difference when I opened up a Facebook page because a couple of people were having a Facebook page under my name and under the motto, if you can beat them, join them, because all my mails to Facebook didn't have any effect. So yeah. I decided, you know, then I should start one myself, and so I did, and then tons of messages from all over the world came in, and I was really surprised. I thought, oh, that's really nice, you know, to get such a warm welcome, and also it put my face in the obligation that you have, I think, towards, you know, people that enjoy your music, that that you really want to, you know, reward them with the best you can get out of yourself and out of your band and stuff, and it's just really exciting, you know. I didn't expect anything like this. So
Is there one or maybe a certain type of messages that stood out for you? That what people email to you?
Yeah, well, there were a whole bunch of messages that to the extent of, you know, it's so great to have you back, and that's, I mean, it sounds smarmy, you know, because it's like it's a little bit soap opera, soap-ish to, you know, to have that emotion when you read something like that. But at the same time, I thought, you know, it's really great. It's so much cooler than when people say, "Come on, stay away, man.
Yeah.
It was nice and quiet, you know. Leave us alone." But you know, yeah, it's just really great.
Well, you've reached an album now. You're touring.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
What are the certain things that you missed all those years?
Well, definitely playing for a crowd, you know, whether it's 80 people or 80,000, you know, it's just, I mean, I've read it so many times from other players that it sounds a little cliche, but there is a certain energy when you know when you're doing a good show as a band that people really have the same emotion, and that is something you can't really replace with anything else, you know. I mean, listening to a really great album or having a great meal or watching a great painting or hanging out with people you love is very close to that emotion, but maybe it's like the amount of energy that that adds up or something, you know, like all those people together in the same vibe as the band, and you're in some kind of a flow that you don't really have a sense of time or something, you know. I don't know, it's that plus one out of so many shows. When you play well, when you feel you're playing like a nice percentage of what you know you can do, then that's a great kick as well. But maybe, well, definitely one of the biggest kicks is also when, as a band, when the whole thing grips together, you know, like when, and that's what I like about a small lineup like this one. Mart, Sam, myself, and Jan kind of grip, I don't think it's the right expression, but it's like two hands. When you go like this, bam, you know, when it's solid, then it feels really good. And then it doesn't even matter if there's 10 people around or 10 million, you know, there's like a certain thing. The reason why you make music, actually, you know, that's the reason why you make music, because I read, there was an article on the internet a couple of weeks ago that was about how the brain of musicians kind of work, you know. Apparently, when people play together, when they perform together, the brain seems to be doing something or to pick up something that's almost telepathic, which, if you think about it, kind of makes sense, you know, because why do you play well together with this guy or with these guys and not so well together with those guys? There's like a certain bond or a certain metaphysical-ish type of thing that has to be there. Otherwise, you know, there's so many great musicians, but with one great musician you play in a different way than with somebody else. So when it matches, that's probably one of the biggest kicks of playing with a band.
How often have you had this feeling with your previous bands?
Well, I must say, with this band, I have it with the whole band, and with all the bands I've played in the past, you know, like with Whitesnake, for instance, I have this close rapport with David, and also very much with Rudy and Tommy Aldridge and Danny Kamasi. But with this band, I mean, it sounds like a second-hand car salesman. I'm not selling the band, I'm just trying to explain, because I felt it like at the very first rehearsal we did, I knew it right away within a minute, and the guys didn't want to believe me, you know. Sam and Mart, the drum and the bass player, said, "How do you know it's us? Why don't you do any auditions?" You know, I talked about it in other interviews too. I said, "Well, it just felt right, you know. I don't need to try out anybody else, you know."
Is it something because you had been away for a few years too that you immediately knew, or is it something that that just happens once in a lifetime, or is it something that now you're older and now you have the experience, so you know?
Could be. It could be that. Yeah, I mean, when you play in a band, you always, every musician will know what I'm talking about, but it could very well be that it got amplified by the fact that I've been away for a while, and also that I realized for myself what my drive is, you know, and what kind of music I feel best performing by, and what kind of lineup, you know. I really like a small lineup like this, because when it does come together, it really comes together. Yeah. And every extra musician in there, you have to wait and see if it you know, if it closes as well as what it does, you know. So I've always liked bands like the Free and Cream and Hendrix and stuff, and like small, like three guys with a singer that make like a serious amount of noise and vibe and groove and stuff, you know.
Well, you've been away for, I don't know, 12 or 13 years.
Yeah.
Did you keep on writing?
No. I did write a couple of instrumental little thingies, you know, something for like a movie about nature. I thought, you know, like a little acoustic thing. I actually wrote a little piano thing for probably the most famous restaurant in Holland, because I admire that guy very much, you know, the Liberijen in Zwolle. It's an art form in itself. Cooking on that level, you know, the guy is, I always call him the Jimi Hendrix of cooking, because he's so experimental and so out there. He does things that nobody else does, and he asked me to write a little piece of music for his company, and I did, you know. So, and that was pretty much it. I didn't write any rock since the 1998 Whitesnake album.
How come? Didn't you miss it? Didn't you have the urge to do it, or?
I did, yeah. I did miss it, but I thought, you know, there's always this voice in my head that either whispers or screams, and I usually wait until it screams to go, this is the time to do this or that, you know. This is the time to make another painting or write or play guitar or whatever, you know. And I guess that's it, you know. Like, there was this certain moment where I thought, it's about fucking time.